Hello, everybody. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are today. And welcome to Lagash webinar season. Today's webinar is about Azure Media Services Analytics. The cloud can see, listen, and understand you. As we are going to talk today about some very cool and interesting features that are being developed around Azure and state-of-the-art technology in order to process massive amounts of data from within video feeds and audio files directly on the cloud. This kind of technology will allow us to develop intelligent applications that can actually understand content that otherwise is obscure to us. And as you might already know, video is the main content type for the internet today. So we are going to go through some very interesting features and technology about analytics. We can actually process this kind of information in the cloud and extract valuable insights from videos and audios that we can then use to create intelligent applications and solutions. So let's go ahead and get started. Welcome. A little bit about myself. My name is Milton Javier Arguello. I'm the Chief Operation Officer of Lagash US. I'm also a full-time consultant and architect. I have more than 15 years of experience working with technology and particularly with Microsoft technology. I participated in large-scale projects and enterprise-grade projects developing solutions all over Latin America. And well, you can reach me out at that email you can see on the screen. So what we are going to talk about today, I'm going to make a brief introduction of the company, Lagash. After that, we are going to jump straight into the Azure Media Services. I'm going to explain a little bit about what is Azure Media Services, what is the problem and the needs of the industry here, what is the Microsoft offering with Azure Media Services. Then we are going to discuss the analytics features of Azure Media Services. That is the core topic of this webinar. Afterwards, we're going to go through some samples and demos that I prepare and we prepare for this webinar. If we have some time, I'm going to show you, I want to open up Visual Studio and make a brief demo about how to use one of these features, specifically indexing text from within the videos. Afterwards, I'm going to showcase some of the solutions that we are working on currently in Lagash. One of them is called Voice Analytics and is built on top of this great platform. And I'm going to show you how we are creating and enhancing this platform, Azure Media Services Analytics, to create vertical solutions for the media and telecommunication industries. So let's go ahead and jump in. Lagash, our company has been in the market since 2001. We work in several countries in Latin America. Over the past 15 years, we have worked for world-class companies all over Latin America and the US. At the heart of our DNA, there are two main concepts here, and those are innovation and engineering. Innovation as we try to create and tackle challenges, including unconventional perspectives, mixing creativity and engineering here. And that is where engineering pays off, as we have top-of-the-class professionals that are recognized in the industry as being at the top of their respective fields. Like I previously said, we have offices in several countries in Latin America and in the US. We are here in Seattle. We have offices in Mexico, Colombia, Chile, Uruguay, and Argentina. And we can actually deliver software development from each and every one of these countries. And that will actually depend on the customer needs and the specific scenario. But that's how our company operates. We can work on-site of doing offshore development projects for enterprise or companies of any size. And last but not least, our experience fields are grouped in these concepts that we call DOMs. DOMs are a group of practices and disciplines, and they ranges from software development, custom software development, to CRM, IoT projects, user experience design, mobile development, and of course, cloud solution development as the one we're going to see here today. So what about Azure Media Services? Before going into the main topic of this presentation, I'm going to make a brief introduction of Azure. Microsoft Azure is the Microsoft Cloud Platform. It's the offering to the market of Microsoft Cloud Platform, and it includes several kind of services. For example, infrastructure as a service. This kind of services that you actually use to provision virtual machines and create VPNs, etc. That is cloud infrastructure. And you can actually make use of them. You can create virtual machines and deploy your solutions using Windows or Linux versions, several kind of Linux and Windows versions on the cloud. And you can also use platform as a service, and those are features that you can build together and put together to build a solution. Those features or services are actually made up as black box solutions to you. So, for example, a searching service or an indexing service that you can consume from Microsoft Azure, and you can put content on it, and you just make queries to the indexing service after information is being processed. So these kind of features or services are called platform services, as you don't need to worry about the memories of the virtual machines, of the disk usage of this specific component. You don't need to install anything. You just use the service, and it's virtually an infinite pool of resources that you can use from Microsoft Azure. So Azure Media Services is a set of these platform services that are here to solve some particular industry needs. As I previously told and began my webinar today, saying that video is the main content type today in the internet. Not only in the internet, but only within our organizations, within internet or company portals, probably within your own companies. So video has audio, so people is talking within the video, and also it's doing things within the video. So people actually share a huge amount of content using video content types or audio content types today, as you could probably see on the internet and social networks. But not only in social networks, there are many others network or organizational solutions or companies out there that provide content on the internet. And there are some specific problems to this kind of solutions. You need to address different device profiles, different TV sizes and network conditions, phone, tablets, PC. You need to handle a huge amount of traffic, different streaming protocols, like I said, different network conditions. So in order to put together a solution to solve this kind of problem, you will need to buy expensive hardware and maintain that expensive hardware in order to develop these kind of solutions on the internet. So what is Azure Media Services? Azure Media Services is a platform as a service. It's a cloud infrastructure for developers that is important for developers. The cloud infrastructure is already there, and you can make use of that cloud infrastructure from within Microsoft Azure. And you only need to worry about developing your solution, your media services solution. You can create and drive streaming solutions, live streaming or on-demand streaming. The main purpose of Azure Media Services is that you can get any content from any source and move it to the cloud and distribute that content around the world. that solution will automatically handle different encoding, multiple encoding formats that will depend on the client device, and it will handle different bit rates for those streaming. You can also put together a licensing scheme on top of this platform. Say, for example, that you want to develop a solution and provide a service on the internet for users to see, to stream, I don't know, movies or series or sport events from your solution, and you want to give users a trial account for them to try your service. So you can provide them with an access token with an expiration policy, and that access token will give them access for a specific amount of time. And when that token expired, the content would not be available to those users anymore. Similar to that case is the case that we have within our organizations. So intranet portals actually have videos with sensitive information about the company or customers or policies within the organization that are only designed to be shared within the company, not with outside users. So we can create a custom policy and the licensing only to manage, only for people within the organization to actually see the video. As you can see, this big blue shape at the middle of the slide, this has actually many kind of features and components. We are not going to go through all of these components during this presentation. And we are actually focusing on the analytics component of Azure Media Services. We are preparing a second webinar in which we are going to discuss a little bit more about Azure Media Services. We're going to perform a live streaming event in that second webinar using the core components of Azure Media Services. But today we are going to focus on the analytics components, the one that we found there are very interesting components and we can actually use right ahead. It's funny because every time I make this presentation, there is some international or local sports event being held, and today is no different. Rio 2016, the Summer Games, actually used Azure Media Services to stream a huge amount of minutes over the internet. Actually, it was the first Olympic event worldwide that overcomes the TV viewers, the content that users see stream from the internet than from TV. We always talk about this, that people is not using TV anymore, but we actually have evidence here of this phenomenon taking place in the internet. Similar to the Rio 2016, there were other events previously, like the FIFA World Cup, the Super Bowl here in the US, or the previous Olympic event in London that also used Azure Media Services as a streaming platform. So this is very interesting. It actually shows the power of the cloud and the power of this kind of services within Azure Media Services. So what is Azure Media Services Analytics? This is a particular and specific component within Azure Media Services that will allow us to process and extract intelligent and valuable insights from within videos and audio files. It's a collection of speech and vision components that will allow us to get insights through advanced machine learning technology. So remember that artificial intelligence and machine learning is actually a trending topic today in the technology space. Also, social network and video sharing, video as a main content type today for these kind of solutions. So if we mix these two components together, we get analytics, Azure Media Services Analytics. Azure Media Services Analytics is the cloud working for us, doing this kind of some some of the solutions that we're going to talk about here today. So imagine for a second that we have, what can we do with this kind of components? Imagine for a second that we have a video feed from a retail store, and those video feed actually show how the customer transits over the store, and actually shows in which part of the store the customer is spending more of the time. But we can actually get more insights from that video. We can actually detect faces on that video, recognize people, and recognize emotions, see if the customer was actually happy, was angry, what kind of emotion the customer has when walking down or observing a specific product being shown in a shelf. Also for customer calls within call centers, when we have agents calling and assisting customers in call center, we can actually extract the transcript, do the speech text extraction of all the conversation, the entire conversation with the customer and the agent, and get valuable information from that, knowing why the customer is calling, and detecting bad words or key phrases that we know that the agent should not be saying to the customer, and vice versa. So there are many specific scenarios for customers, for call centers in the retail space. For surveillance videos, actually detecting motion, for example, in videos, and only processing the frames where motion was detected. Detecting faces, when motion is detected, we actually are interested in only frames with people inside those frames. So we can create a lot of filtering techniques within surveillance videos. As you might know, surveillance videos could have a long footage, so we can create this automatic process to filter those frames that we know that something's going on, and discard all the rest of the frames. So reducing false positives here. For social solutions, content moderation, for example, we can create solutions out of Azure Media Services Analytics that can classify content automatically, and can moderate the content, discarding content that is not appropriate for the target audience. For e-learning solutions, search topics within videos and audio, and auto-classify the information within these internet portals of e-learning solutions. And for entertainment also, we're going to showcase the Hyperlapse feature. This feature will allow us to accelerate and increase the speed of the video, in order to have a shorter video about, for example, say that you go to skiing during the weekend, and you have a GoPro camera, and you put that camera on your helmet, and you record the entire skiing session. So you want to show that ski session to your wife, to your girlfriend, or to your friends. So in order for them not to actually see an hour and a half of your skiing down the mountain, you can create a shorter version of that video, and that video will be smooth and will be stabilized. I'm going to show a demo of that. We can also summarize video, showing all the main the most important parts of the video to the audience, and reducing the size of the content. For example, if you have an internet portal, and you have video that's being shared within the portal, you can have the user see a preview of the shorter version of the video, in order to make sure that he's interested in that video. Also for news application, sharing an interview, a preview of the interview that was automatically summarized using these tools, is actually another scenario here. So that is why I was saying that the cloud is working for us here, as we can actually reduce the human effort, the amount of time that people is doing this kind of task for this kind of specific scenarios I mentioned previously. So Azure Media Services have several processors. These processors are algorithms and services that we can use to create these experiences. The first one and one of the most interesting processors is the indexer one. The indexer allows us to extract text from the speech. It does the speech-to-text transcription. It uses a deep neural network on the back end. It actually has a great performance translating speech. I'm going to show you in a minute. And it actually supports several languages: English, Spanish, French, Italian, German, Chinese, Portuguese, and Arabic. So we actually did create a solution that handles several languages, and I can assess that these kind of languages are really working inside the indexer. The Hyperlapse feature that I already mentioned, motion detection, face detection and emotions. You can actually track people within videos and aggregate and detect emotions of those people during the video footage. It can also summarize video. For this scenario I already mentioned, making a preview of videos for news application or for an internet portal. And also a very interesting feature is the OCR on videos, optical character recognition. Because information is not only within the speech of the people within the video, but also, like in this presentation, for example, I have some text in a deck, in a PowerPoint presentation, so we can actually extract that information as well using this technology. In the link that you can see below, there are plenty of demos that were created by Microsoft for each one of these media processors. So you can go ahead and have a look at that link if you wanted to. So let's go ahead and jump into our demos today. So the first demo I'm going to show you is about it's a reduced version of our voice analytics solution. Our voice analytics solution is a solution that we built for call centers and actually uses this kind of technology. It has many more features, as we actually created some machine learning models to extract more information about the speech to text transcription that we are doing using Azure Media Services. And we adapted that solution to this demo to only showcase some specific components and features of Azure Media Services. So imagine for a second that you want to develop a solution that allows the user to search through all the text within videos or audio files. Remember that we can extract text during OCR from videos and also extract text from the speech-to-text a feature that Azure Media Services Analytics has. So in this demo, I'm going to show you three cases. The first one is typing a search here. We can actually search for terms, for example, that we'll understand. So we are also using other features or other services from Azure. For example, one called Azure Search Engine or searching services. So this services actually allows us to look for a word, and it can also understand inflections of that specific word. So we can do an exact match of that word from within the transcript of the video or the audio file, but we can also look for other inflections of the word, for example, understanding here. In this first example, we're going to start with this video interview that was done to Satya when Microsoft acquired LinkedIn. So what you're seeing here is the video feed on top of the screen, and you can also see the transcription being played automatically at the bottom of the screen. So as I go ahead and play this video, you will be seeing the solution showing on the transcript and moving forward automatically through all the video and the specific transcript for every frame. I'm not sure you will be able to hear the video. While the video is playing, you can actually hear the interview being played here, and we are showcasing two Azure Media Services analytic features. The first one is the indexer, the transcription that we get out of indexer, and the second one is face detection inside the video. So as you can see, if I move forward here and I select another line in the transcription, this kind of functionality is not Azure Media Services Analytics. This is a solution built on top of that, of those services. So what we're seeing here today is a video feed that was processed using the face detection services and the indexer to extract the speech to text. You can see that we can sync every line of the speech to a specific frame and time frame within the video. So we have the timing information here on the left and the text that correspond to that specific time frame. So the solution also shows other kind of information, for example, the silence amount that was detected in the video, the audio. That's kind of an important metric for call centers, how much time you are waiting on the line, for example. So let's go ahead with the second one. The second demo is a similar video to the one that we saw previously, but in this one, we will see on the left of the screen the OCR feed. The OCR feed is the text that was extracted from the presentation being shown in this video, or any kind of text that was shown during the video. That is video OCR. So we have multiple sources of information and insights that we got from this video. One is the speech to text, and the other one is the OCR. So if I go ahead and play this video, you will see that the OCR is being shown dynamically on the left side, and we have the speech to text below, as in the previous video. So this is pretty cool. We can actually index all of this information and create a solution like this one. So imagine for a moment, what can we do with this kind of technology? Automatically classify and index content within intranet portals within organizations, or any other kind of solution that handles or manages videos or audio files. The last one is a phone call. It simulates a phone call. So we do not have a video feed here, only an audio channel. So Azure Media Services Analytics can also work with audio files, MP4, WAV files, and other kind of formats. And it's kind of the same thing. If we go ahead and move forward using the cursor here on top of the waveform, we can also jump to a specific point in time, and the transcript will reflect that. So this solution was built on top of Azure Media Services, and the way we do this is by getting the timing information aligned with the speech, and we can create an experience like this one. So that was pretty cool. Another feature is called Hyperlapse, like the one I previously discussed with you. So I have a video here that shows guys walking down Manhattan during the morning. Nothing particularly special with this video. But imagine if you need to watch this guy walking down for an hour or so, and he's telling you about his morning, and you want to see a preview of this video or a summarization of this guy walking. If we can do that by speeding up the video. We are using VLC here in order to speed up the video. Now let's see what happens when I speed up the video. Go faster and faster. You can notice the shaking movements of the camera. This is kind of annoying. You will have a headache probably after seeing this for a while. So that is the problem of video summarization when you want to create a shorter version of the video or moving forward, playing back the video in a fast forward manner. So what can we achieve using media services? I have the exact same video here using Hyperlapse. Now notice the difference. There is no shaking. So this is Hyperlapse. This technology is designed to work with first-person cameras. Whenever you go biking, hiking, or skiing, you can create this kind of experiences and sharing this shorter version of the videos with your friends. Your friends, I'm pretty sure, will thank you for showing the shorter version. So that is Hyperlapse. There are plenty of more demos here in the demo side of Azure Media Services that I already showed you. We have this demo summarization here, a video summarization. We have this video that is about 14 minutes and 35 seconds long. And if we go to the video summarization version, you can see that it's 29 seconds. And it only shows the most important parts from within the video. So go ahead and go into this demo side of Azure Media Services for more demos on applications with Azure Media Services. So let's jump into a more technical part of this webinar. Let's discuss briefly about Azure Media Services architecture. Azure Media Services is made of three main components here: assets, processors, and storage. In order to create this kind of, or process this kind of information, videos, or audio file, we need to first upload that information into Azure. And the way we do that is actually uploading to storage. Storage is also a service. Imagine like a huge and infinite storage capacities service that we have on the internet. So we upload something to storage, and then we create an asset on top of that file that we have just uploaded into Azure. An asset is a collection of files, or is a single or a collection of files that can then be processed by any of these processors I already mentioned in my previous presentation. For example, video OCR, or face detection, or indexer, etc. So we can actually select which kind of processor we want to use to process those assets. That's kind of the main architecture of assets. So it's an architecture built like a pipeline with filters and processors that allows that Azure to incorporate the future processors in the near future. So this kind of extensible architecture here. We do have some Azure Media Services SDKs for several platforms, including .NET, Java, PHP, Node.js, and PowerShell, Connects. And if we happen to develop an application using a different technology, we can always use the REST API of Azure Media Services. You can go ahead and consult the documentation here in the internet. So what kind of other solutions can we build? This is another solution that we have. This is a retail store. We have a map here, the retail store, and we can actually track people within the retail store. We can get the face detection processor to operate here to extract information about the age and gender of the people walking down a specific area within the retail store. So we know that, for example, for this specific area or this specific shelf, only children transit within that specific area, or I don't know, people is getting angry or happy about seeing your product there, etc. So this is called modern heat maps. It is not only a transit analysis solution, but also a demographics solution using Azure Media Services. And before going any further, I will introduce you to Azure Media Services Explorer. If you want to go ahead and try out these cool features on the internet, you can actually download this project Services Explorer. Azure Media Services Explorer was developed. This is a tool that was developed by the Azure Media Services product team, and is available in the internet in GitHub. And you can download the source code of Azure Media Services Explorer, and it's a great starting point for you to start working with Azure Media Services. You have every aspect here of Azure Media Services here. You can create jobs, submit assets, create assets into the cloud, create a live streaming channel, or actually process video or audio files using these encoders or processors I already mentioned. So for example, you can see here in my screen that I have selected Hyperlapse, I have the indexer, the face detector, etc. So it's kind of a cool application that you can get access to and download the source code and see how it's developed, and also a good starting point to work with Azure Media Services Analytics. So let's go ahead and do a small demo about creating a video OCR process within Azure Media Services Analytics. So this solution uses two SDKs that you can install in your Visual Studio Code. One is the Windows Azure Storage NuGet package, and the other one is Windows Azure Media Services NuGet package. So these two components are installed here in Visual Studio Solution, and you can see with some small amount of code, I can actually create a task and submit a job to Azure Media Services. For this demo, I'm going to create a job for an MP4 video, and I'm going to use the OCR video processor. Here's the Azure Media OCR. So what this program is going to do is going to create a new job within Azure Media Services. It will send a video feed for processing, and it will extract the OCR from that video feed. This video is the same exact video that we showed during the previous demo, the one that showed the OCR on the left of the screen. So we can see that the video was already sent to Azure. We can go to Azure and actually see that in the Azure portal. This is the Windows Azure portal that we can use to manage all the services and features that we are using from Azure. And we can see there that there is a new processing job, an OCR processing job being executed. We can also query for that job using the Azure Explorer. And there we have it. The video is already processing, has already kicked off, and is moving forward. So what we're going to have here is, when this process ends, is a JSON file showing all the OCR that can be extracted from within the video, that was extracted from within the video, and it will tell us from which frames and at which start time frame within the video that specific text was detected. So let's go ahead with the presentation and wait for this process to finish. So last but not least, sorry, we're going to talk about a little bit about Voice Analytics. Voice Analytics is a solution that we have developed in Lagash for call centers. So what this solution does is allow us call centers to push a huge amount of information into the cloud, of calls that are being generated every minute and every second using several technologies, Microsoft technologies. For example, Store Simple, Azure Search Engine, Azure Media Services Analytics, etc. And it allows operators to actually identify problematic phone calls and identify KPIs that they want to track. For For example, silence mounts. They can actually get the transcript out of the text. We can actually highlight specific sentences within the phone calls that are problematic or need attention. For example, the agent is saying a key phrase or a word that he shouldn't be saying, or the customer is complaining about some specific topic that we need to learn about. And we can actually classify this information automatically. Once we extract the information from the phone calls, we create several dashboards with some valuable insights and KPIs using other machine learning algorithms to process and classify text. So let's go ahead and see if the job has already finished. Seems so. So we're going to open the job and we're going to see what kind of information we get out of the job. So we have the JSON file here that was generated by the Azure Media Services Analytics processor. If we go into the details, we can open this JSON. And there it is. This is the result that we are getting from Azure Media Services. I have this here in my solution, a similar JSON that was generated earlier. And we can actually see the structure here. We have the start time information and the text that was extracted from the video frame, the coordinates within the screen that text was identified, the language. This video CR feature has an interesting capability of auto-detecting the language. We can otherwise specify which language we're interested in before processing the video, but we can always use this auto-detect feature here. So that's kind of information that we're using to create a solution like the one that we showed previously. So that was about Azure Media Services Analytics. I hope you enjoyed the webinar and you can actually think about some cool new ideas and solutions that you wish to develop or create for your customers or for your own organization. So we can open up the session for question and answers. Okay then, thank you very much for attending to this Lagash webinar session about Azure Media Services Analytics. My name is Milton Javier Arguello, and I will be reading you and hearing from you on that email address here. And thank you again for having us today.